Well, the crowd is still pouring into Jerry Park. We can see back at the left field bleachers a long line of fans making their way to the ticket booth and then into the ballpark. A lot of them coming through the turnstiles right now and through the walkways, the ramps leading to their seats. Too early to make an estimate on the crowd, but a good crowd for a 4:05 afternoon game. The Expos were indeed happy at the fine turnout last night, over 19,000 fans for the first night game of the season at Jerry Park. The Expos were delighted at the turnout, but the players themselves, I know manager Gene Mock, were not delighted at the outcome. Sure, they wanted to win last night's ball game, but even more so because of the big crowd that turned out and was ready to cheer them on. That cheer that went up for John Bateman's home run to tie the score at 1-all in the 7th inning last night was really something to hear. So the Expos will try to salvage at least one game out of this 3-game series as they go against the New York Mets this afternoon. Well, Bill Stallman has just about completed his pregame warm-up pitches with battery mate John Bateman. The first man in the Mets order he'll face will be the shortstop, Bud Harrelson, to be followed by Rod Gaspar and Ken Boswell. And stepping up to the microphone with the play-by-play broadcast of the first part of this afternoon's game, Dave Van Horn.
Thank you again, Russ. Bright sun, 58 degrees at game time. Bill Stoneman out on the mound. He worked against the Mets at Shea Stadium, and the Mets knocked him out after a third of an inning. So Stoney's got a lot to look forward to in this game this afternoon in the way of getting back at these Mets for that very unkindly greeting they gave him in New York. Bud Harrelson steps in. He's hitting .236, a left-hand hitter. And we're set to get this one underway. The outfield is in and around to the left. Here's Stoney's windup, his pitch, taken for a strike, and the ball game is underway. 0-1 to Bud Harrelson. Then we'll have Rod Gaspar and Kenny Boswell. Set the defense for you here in a moment. Stoneman delivers. A curve is swung on and bounced foul behind first base. Strike 2. 0-2 to Harrelson. Mac Jones is in left. Don Bosch swung around toward left center. Rusty Staub in right field. Around the infield, LeBoy at third. He's playing the edge of the grass. Maury Wills at short. Gary Sutherland at second base. Don Clendenin at first base, playing back, protecting the line. John Bateman, the catcher. Stoneman has the sign. Here's his windup and the pitch. High, sails back to the screen. A ball and 2 strikes. That slipped away from Stoney. Harrelson's going to leave for New York right after today's game. He's got military duty coming up this weekend. He'll miss the series in Chicago for the Mets. Check swing, and a pitch is high. Or did he foul tip it? John Bateman is asking the first base umpire, Ken Burkhardt, for some help, and also the third base umpire, Lee Weyer. And now the plate umpire, Harry Wendelstadt, is checking with the base umpires. Bateman claimed there was a foul tip, that Harrelson did not get that bat out of the way, and Gene Mock is out there talking with the plate umpire, Harry Wendelstadt, about that play, about the pitch.
Dave, they just announced that the Mets had a report from New York. Nothing wrong at all with Jerry Koosman's shoulder. He's been declared fit and ready, and he'll rejoin the Mets when they go to Chicago to beat the Cubs tomorrow.
Well, Mock and Wendelstadt had a very pleasant conversation. Nothing heated about it at all. And that's now broken up. We're ready to go. The count is 2-2 on Harrelson. A little bit of a breeze from our right to our left. Stoneman's 2-2. Check swing and a strike call. Harrelson is called out on strikes. The batter will be Rod Gaspar, another left-hand hitter. Gaspar, switch hitter, batting left. He's hitting .152 for the year, .214. He has had his success as a right-hand hitter, batting .304. Pitch is low for a ball. One out, nobody on. The game just underway here at Jarry Park. Fans still coming in. These 4:05 games will bring a lot of fans in here in the early innings. Outfield is straight away and not deep for Gaspar. The pitch taken for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. On deck, Ken Boswell. Well, we've certainly been getting the pitching these last few games. Pitchers just giving up, 2 runs in the last 3 games we've played. But we've had trouble scoring runs. Here's a swing and a foul out of play behind the Expos dugout. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Rod Gaspar. Bill Stoneman is 2-3 on the year. He's worked a total of 34 innings, giving up 8 earned runs, 21 hits. He has struck out 25, has a 2.12 ERA. And, of course, a no-hitter to his credit, a couple of shutouts. Here's a line drive, right field, and it drops in front of Staub for a single. A base hit for Gaspar. That'll bring Ken Boswell to the plate. Boswell is hitting .273, another left-hand hitter. For the month of April, 7 openings, total of 8 games, but 7 openings here at Jarry Park. Over 121,000 fans have turned out to see the Expos play. 1 out with 1 on. The pitch is low and inside, ball 1. The runner at first, Rod Gaspar. Gaspar got on in the 9th with a single last night, stole second, and scored the winning run of the game. It broke up a 1-1 ball game in the top of the 9th. Gaspar takes his lead. Stoneman with a long look over the shoulder at the runner, and the pitch. Curve is swung on and bounced foul behind first, grabbed by Yogi Berra. Berra in the first base box, Eddie Yost in the third base box, coaching for the Mets. Cleon Jones is in the on-deck circle. The Expos as a team are hitting .251. The Mets as a team, .237. 1-1, the count on the batter, Boswell. Stoneman looks at the runner. The pitch low and outside. For a moment it got away from John Bateman, but the runner, Gaspar, holds it first. 2 balls and a strike. Another one of those 1-run games last night, 2-1, the Mets won. The 7th 1-run loss by the Expos. In 6 of those games, the opposition scored the winning run in its last time at bat. Throw to first, diving back in, head first is Gaspar. The count 2-1 to the batter, Boswell. It's 340 down both lines here at Jarry Park. 420 to straightaway center, and the power alleys go 370. There goes the runner. The pitch, swing and a foul off to the right of the plate. Boswell a little upset with himself, and Gaspar will make the trip back to first. The count is even, 2-2, with 1 out and 1 on. Well, we had some terrific pitching performances around the league last night. Jim Maloney pitching a no-hitter. The Reds beat Houston. He strike out 13, I think, in that ball game. Harry Walker was upset about that one. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a ground ball to the right side. Sutherland to Wills. 1, back to first. Double play. 4-6-3. No run. runs, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left. To score, the New York Mets nothing, and the Montreal Expos coming to bat.
Like we were saying last night, the Expos infield certainly has that double play combination set down to a T. That 4-6-3 combination, Sutherland to Wills to Don Clendenin, Clendenin finishing up with a big stretch. And we've seen that quite a bit now in the last few ball games, so that infield is really coming around now. In action elsewhere in baseball, in the American League, a 2-all tie between Cleveland and the Yankees at Yankee Stadium in the bottom of the 8th inning. Minnesota is leading Seattle 3-1 in the 6th inning. That game being played at Minnesota. Over in the National League, well, nothing to report as yet. The Dodgers are playing at Candlestick Park. Sutton going against Tadeki in an afternoon game. That game will be getting underway in about 15 minutes' time, so we'll flash the scores to you as they come through to us. Other games, well, all the other action will be at night. St. Louis playing at Pittsburgh, San Diego at Atlanta, and Houston at Cincinnati. The Pirates, after they wind up this series with St. Louis, will come to Montreal tonight to open a series tomorrow night here at Jarry Park against our Expos. So the Pittsburgh Pirates with fellows like Bob Clemente and Willie Stargell and one of the Alous, one of the greatest of the Alous, I guess the greatest of the Alous, Matty Alou, will be coming to town for this weekend series against the Expos. Make sure you take in at least one of these ball games, and I'm sure you'll enjoy yourself. The Pirates, off to a fine start in the National League, will be visiting the Expos this weekend. Well, for the Expos, the leadoff man, Don Bosch, is about to step in. Bosch leading off this afternoon.
Don Bosch, a switch hitter, batting 179. He's 147 as a left-hand hitter. Don stepping in, former New York Met. And batting number 1 for the Expos here this afternoon. Then Wills and Staub. No score. First inning. Don Cardwell, right-hander, out on the mound looking for his first victory of the year. This is the first time he's faced the Expos. As the sign from Jerry Grody, the windup in Cardwell's first pitch is taken low by Bosch, ball 1. Don Cardwell lost a complete game to St. Louis 1-0 on the 12th of April. He lost to the Pirates 4-0. April 17th, and in his last start, he defeated the Cubs 9-3. A bunt left side, picked up by the third baseman Collins. The throw to first is in time. Bosch retired. As a matter of fact, Cardwell has worked 19 1/3 innings this year, and the Mets have not scored a run for him. Here's Maury Wills. Cardwell with a windup in the pitch. Taken outside, ball 1. Wills batting 163, 169 batting left, which he's doing this afternoon against this right-hander. Outfield in and around to the left for Wills. The pitch, swung on, ground ball to the left side, up with it, the shortstop Harrelson, throw to Crane Pull at first, and Wills is retired. 2 up and 2 down, and the batter will be Rusty Staub. In the Met outfield, Cleon Jones in left, Rod Gaspar in center, Ron Swoboda in right. Kevin Collins is at third base. Bud Harrelson at short, Kenny Boswell at second, Ed Crane Pull at first. The catcher is Jerry Grody. For Staub, they're straight away. Fairly deep. Big left-hand hitter. Cardwell deals a change of pace way outside, ball 1. Staub is hitting .306. Against the Mets, the Expos are batting .241. Pitch low and outside, ball 2 to Rusty. Bob Bailey, who we talked to on the pregame show and played in that first series, that three-game series at Shea Stadium to open the season, one of the leading hitters of the Expos against the Mets. In that series, Bob hit .385. Don Clendenin in 2 games is hitting .375 against the Mets. Staub is batting .278 against New York pitching. The next pitch is in for a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike to Rusty. Here comes Cardwell's offering. It's down low for ball 3. 3-1. There's no score here with the Expos batting in the first. The last of a 3-game series. The Mets have taken the first 2 by scores of 2-0 and 2-1. Pitch for a strike called. 3-2, full count to Rusty with 2 outs and nobody on. The Mets go on to Chicago from here, and of course, our Expos will be hosting the Pirates here this weekend. The 3-2 pitch to Staub is low and inside, ball 4. So Staub becomes the first Expo base runner this afternoon, drawing a walk from Don Cardwell. And the batter, Mac Jones.
Number 9.
Mac is hitting .347. And against the Mets, he's hitting .294.
Dave, if it was any interest to anyone, that was the 17th walk drawn by Rusty Staub so far this year.
Cardwell delivers low, ball 1. It's a hard man to pitch to. Pitchers are very cautious with Rusty because he's such an excellent hitter. He can hit to both fields. He's got a great eye at the plate. He knows what he wants. And they don't want to give Staub anything good. He can really lash out those doubles and extra basers. Here's the pitch. Swung on, hard hit ball to the left side. Harrelson deep in the hole has it. Throw to second. They get Staub. Mac Jones hits into a fielder's choice. And Rusty is retired at second base. Harrelson to Boswell, and that's all for the Expos here in the first. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base, and the score at the end of 1 here at Jerry Park. The Expos nothing and the Mets nothing.
Well, fans, as we've often said on these baseball broadcasts, this is certainly a big year for baseball expansion, and of course expansion into Canada. The first ever franchise from outside the United States is located right here at Jerry Park in Montreal. And because it's the first year, you won't want to miss getting in on this excellent yearbook that the Expos have turned out. A beautiful yearbook, one of the best we've seen, and we've visited almost all of the National League cities right now, and this Expo yearbook is really something to behold. The centerfold page is a beautiful color picture of the Montreal Expos taken down at West Palm Beach in Florida. This color picture is suitable for framing. Inside the brochure, the yearbook, all kinds of information on all your favorite Expo ball players. Now, the yearbook costs $1.25. $1.25 will handle the cost of mailing, postage, and everything else. So send $1.25 to Yearbook, Jerry Park, Montreal. Very simple address to remember. Yearbook, Jerry Park, Montreal, $1.25. It'll be $1.25 well spent. You won't regret it.
All right, we go to the top of the second. And for the New York Mets, it'll be Cleon Jones, Ed Kranepool, and Ron Swoboda. Got a note here from Dave Grody of the National League I was going to tell you about, so that it's a nice piece of information to have when you're at the ball game. We'll watch Cleon Jones, though, first of all. Batting .410. He's been leading the league. Takes the first pitch low and away for a ball. Right now, he's third in the league. Tito Francona of Atlanta batting .444 leads the league. He's played in only 11 games, however. Manny Sanguin of Pittsburgh hitting .423 in 10 games. And then Jones in 20 games batting .410. just ahead of Hank Aaron, Matty Alou, and Coco LeBoy. Another pitch misses, ball 2. 2-0 to Cleon Jones. The left fielder of the New York Mets, right-hand hitter. Bill Stoneman, the right-hander, with a wind-up in the pitch. For a strike across the letters on the inside corner, 2-1. We've been given signals now, Russ, on a couple of rules here. The 20-second violation, when that's called on a pitcher, in other words, when there is not a runner on base, a pitcher must deliver his pitches within 20-second spacing. If he doesn't, a ball will be called. A swing and a miss. Strike 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Jones. They hadn't had a signal for that, and a lot of times we would have to wait for an announcement to know that the 20-second violation was made. Well, now the umpire will clasp his left hand over his right wrist, hold both arms over his head, and that's the signal for a violation of the 20-second rule. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Stoneman. Cut on, line drive right up the middle over Stoneman's head, a base hit. Cleon Jones with hit number 2 for the Mets. And with Ed Kranepool coming to the plate here, Cleon Jones will be the runner, nobody out. No score in the game here in the top of the second. Kranepool is a left-hand hitter. He's batting .310. Hit a couple of home runs here the first day to give the Mets their 2-0 victory. They've also come up with a signal when there's been a violation of a pitcher going to the mouth. And the umpire will step to the left side of the plate and raise his left hand over his head. Here's a bouncing ball, gets past Stoneman out into center field, a base hit, digging for third as Bosch comes up with the ball. As Jones, the throw is cut off, and Jones slides in safely at third, as Wills made the cutoff to check Kranepool at first base. So a couple of quick singles here give the Mets runners at first and third. The batter will be Ron Swoboda, and Stoney's got his first jam to try to pitch out of here.
I had better suggestions, actually, for those signals. For that timing thing, perhaps if he swung his watch pendulum style, and for the funny stuff on the ball, perhaps throw a spittoon out in the infield. Think the fans would get the idea there, and the fellows up in the press box get the message?
It might be rather obvious, wouldn't it? Anyway, the umpire will just raise his left hand over his head, and that's a violation of the going to the mouth rule, as they refer to it. Here's a pitch low and outside, blocked down in the dirt by Bateman. Runners hold. Ball 1 to the batter, Ron Swoboda, right-hand hitter. Well, after going through all this explanation, I don't know whether it was worth it or not, but I hope not. I hope so. Anyway, we thank Dave Grody for sending us the word. And I am glad they came up with a signal. The stretch and the pitch. On the letters for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to Ron Swoboda. Swoboda batting .320. Has 1 home run this year, 9 RBIs. A ball and a strike, nobody out. Runners at first and third. The pitch, fastball, swing and a miss. Strike 2. Stoney fired right across the inside corner, about knee high. Tough pitch to hit. Swoboda missed everything. A ball and 2 strikes. Cleon Jones, the runner at third. Ed Kranepool at first. Stoneman looking down to Bateman for the sign. He's got it. He holds at the waist while he looks at the runners. Here's the pitch. On the outside corner for strike 3 called, and Swoboda knew it. He took a third strike called here. Second strikeout for Bill Stoneman, and there's 1 away in the infield.
Well, that's a big out for Bill Stoneman, because now the infield can go to double play depth if he can keep that ball low and get this next batter, Kev Collins, to hit on the ground.
All right, Collins is a left-hand hitter. Batting .188. Expos turned to double play in the first inning. That's what Stoney needs now to get out of this one. Check swing, and the pitch is low and inside for a ball. Let's take 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Expos Baseball Radio Network.
At 103.1 on your FM dial, this is WHRL in Albany, New York. It's 429.
The next pitch taken inside by Collins, ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. At first base, the runner at Cranepool. At third base, Cleon Jones, 1 out. There's no score in the game. We're in the top of the second here at Jerry Park, and this is Dave Van Horn along with Russ Taylor. Glad to have you with us for this afternoon's game. Stoneman ready. Bill kicks and deals. It's outside. Ball 3. 3-0 to Collins. On deck, Jerry Grody, the catcher. The outfield pretty much straight away for Collins. And they're not too deep with these runners on. Jones takes his lead off third. Cranepool off first. The pitch, a strike called. 3-1. Collins taking all the way. Stoneman has given up 3 hits, 2 in this inning. The 3-1 pitch. Check swing is low. Runner Cranepool moves down to second base, and taking over as the runner at first is Kevin Collins on the walk. So the bases are loaded with 1 out, and the batter, right-hander Jerry Grody. Grody is hitting .235. Jones at third, Cranepool at second, Collins at first, 1 away. Bill Stoneman having to deal with Grody now. He's ready from the windup. The curve is a little high. Ball 1. The Mets have gotten a run in the early innings of their last 2 games here at Jerry Park. Stoneman will try to check that. Here's the 1-0. Check swing is fouled into the stands out of play to the right. A ball and a strike. One out. The infield at double play depth. Clendenin gives away the line on the right side. He's in on the edge of the grass and over. Here's the pitch. Just missed the outside corner, and Stoneman was a little bit upset with the call by the plate umpire, Harry Wendelstadt. The count goes 2-1. Grody digging in at the plate. Stoney on the spot here in the second. Here's the pitch, taken high, ball 3, 3-1 to Jerry Grody. So now Bill is behind the 8 ball. 3-1 the count on Grody. The base is loaded with 1 out. Bateman flashes the sign. Stoneman winds up. The pitch, high, ball 4. And the run will come home. So Stoneman issues a couple of walks here. Grody picks up an RBI. And the Mets take a 1-0 lead as Cleon Jones scores from third base. He had singled to lead the inning off. Still only 1 away. Base is still loaded.
John Cardwell.
Cranepool at third, Collins at second, Grody at first, the runners, and the batter is the pitcher, Don Cardwell, and Gene Mauch is out to the mound. But he didn't stay long. That conference broke up quickly, and Bill Stoneman stays in this ball game. Professor, is this Stoneman's first start at Jerry Park?
This is his first start at Jerry Park.
Yep. The stretch by Bill. Here's his pitch. Low and outside, ball one.
Roy Feist is warming up for the Expos now in the bullpen, which would be kind of early to bring him in. He's usually a late relief man, but he's warming up anyway.
If he comes in, it'd probably be to stop a big inning. The pitch taken for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike on the batter, Don Cardwell, a right-hand hitter. I would guess, anyway, that that's what Gene Mauch would have in mind, that if Bill can't pitch out of this, with 1 out here in the second, he'd get base in to put out the fire and then heat up a long reliever. Here's a foul back under the press box, and the count is 1-2 to Cardwell. Cardwell, as far as his plate appearances are concerned this season, he's 0 for 6. That for Grody, by the way, was his 9th RBI. Got it the cheap way with a walk. Here's the 1-2 to Cardwell. Sails over his head as Cardwell ducked out of there. 2 balls and 2 strikes. On deck is Bud Harrelson. Cardwell waiting now while Stoneman gets ready on the mound. Mets lead 1-0. 1 out here in the second. The pitch is a curve for a strike. So Cardwell is called out on strikes. 2 away. 3rd strikeout for Bill Stoneman, and the batter will be Bud Harrelson. Harrelson was called out on strikes in the first. He's a left-hand hitter. Started today batting .236. Bases loaded, 2 outs. The windup and the pitch. Swing and a foul. Back to the left, out of play. 0-1. Grody is the runner at first base. At second, Kevin Collins. And at third base, the runner is Ed Cranepool. The outfield in and around to the left for Harrelson. The 0-1 pitch is high, ball 1. A ball and a strike. Elroy Feist continuing to warm up in the Expos bullpen. Here's Stoneman's pitch. It's a curve and it's outside for ball 2. 2-1. Bill Stoneman is a tough competitor, and he has been successful on several occasions this year, pitching himself out of jams. Here's the 2-1. Swung on and missed. Strike 2. Stoneman jammed him with a fastball high inside. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bases loaded. The runners lead. The windup and the pitch, swing and a foul. Off to the left side. It was off the mask of John Bateman. 2-2. The wind has picked up considerably, blowing from our right to our left. Here's the windup, and the pitch swung on, and the one hopper wills it short, goes to second for the out, and that's the inning. Harrelson hits into a fielder's choice as Wills came up with the ball, flipped to Sutherland to get Grody at second base. So, a lot could have happened. The Mets could have turned that into a big inning, but Bill Stoneman got real tough after those couple of walks. A run on 2 hits. No errors. And there were 3 left. The score at the end of an inning and a half here at Jerry Park is the Mets 1 and the Expos 0.
We've got a special invitation to all our listeners in the northeastern United States and up in the Ottawa Valley. The invitation goes like this. It comes from the group sales department of the Montreal Expos Baseball Club. Form a group and we'll look after all the details for your visit to Montreal to see the Expos in action. Now, all through the United States and through other parts of Canada, a lot of people will want to come to Montreal this year to see the stars of the National League in action here at Jarry Park against the Montreal Expos. The Willie McCoveys and Willie Mays, and the Bob Gibsons, and the Johnny Benches, and the Pete Roses, and so many of the top stars in the National League will be coming here to Jarry Park this year. So all of you folks down in the northeastern United States, check the National League schedule, and you can obtain a schedule actually from the Expos. Check the National League schedule and pick the dates you want to visit Montreal. Form a group and come up and see National League baseball here at Jarry Park. Call the group sales department at the Montreal Expos. The telephone number in Montreal, 875-2300. The area code is 514. Well, we move into the bottom half of the second inning here at Jarry Park. The Mets with a 1-0 lead as Bill Stoneman walked in, the only run of the game so far, with the bases loaded in the top half of the second inning. The first man to face Don Cardwell in the bottom of the second will be first baseman Don Clendenin.
Don Clendenin, a right-hand hitter, batting .282. Let the first one go low, ball one. Cardwell walked one man in the first inning, but had no trouble. He walked Rusty Staub. 1-0 Mets. The right-hander delivers a fastball, and a swing and a foul rolls off to the left side of the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. Don Clendenin hit 1 home run this year, a couple of doubles, has 4 RBIs. Montreal. Clendenin swings and misses a fastball, a ball and 2 strikes. Coco LeBoy is on deck, and then Gary Sutherland. Center fielder Gaspar around toward right center. Cardwell took a little too much time, and Clendenin stepped out, got a little tired of waiting, so Don just got out of there. All right, Don is back in. Here's the pitch. Swung on and a line drive left field. Going back, Jones going back. He can't get it. There she goes. A home run for Don Clendenin, and it's a 1-1 ball game. Home run number 2, RBI number 5, as Clendenin hit a 1-2 pitch out of the ballpark. The first hit of Cardwell. Right over the 368-foot sign, about 10 rows up in the bleachers. A line drive home run. Coco LeBoy will be the batter. He swings on the first pitch, a bouncing ball, and it hit the third baseman Collins as he went to his left for it, and LeBoy is going to be safe at first base. The ball bounded off the glove and then apparently off the side of the head of Kevin Collins. He's holding his head and went down on his knees when that ball hit him, shook him up for just a moment, rolled over deep in the hole behind the shortstop, Harrelson, and LeBoy is on with a hit. That'll bring Gary Sutherland to the plate. Hit number 2 off Cardwell. So the Expos come roaring back here in the bottom of the second to tie it up 1-1 on Don Clendenin's home run. Cardwell delivers to Sutherland. He let it go high and inside. Ball 1. Sutherland looking to bunt with LeBoy on at first. New York has a 2-game lead on the Expos. With those 2 victories, they've vaulted into 3rd place in the division. Our Expos are a game and a half behind St. Louis and Philadelphia. Chicago has a 2-game lead on Pittsburgh to lead the division. Here's the pitch. Swung on. Ground ball to the right side. LeBoy's already at second. No double play. The throw goes from the second baseman, Boswell, the first baseman, Trainpole, Sutherland. Gary would have liked to have hit that ball farther to the right side of the infield, but he hit it just to the right of the mound. But LeBoy had such a good start on that hit and run that there was no chance to get 2. And any way you look at it, Sutherland has moved the runner to second base. One away. The batter, John Bateman, hit a home run here last night. Cardwell to the stretch. A look at LeBoy. Pitch to Bateman. Hit well center field. Going back is Gaspar. He gets under it and makes the catch. LeBoy's going to tag up and try for third. Here comes the throw. It is in time. Oh, brother. We're going to have a little argument on that. And Peanuts Lowry is not going to let Lee Ware get off easy. LeBoy called out at third base. And you can hear what the fans have to say about that, as Coco apparently made a good slide in under that throw, but Ware made the call and he's out. So Bateman is out on the fly ball to center, and LeBoy, in trying to advance from second to third, is out. 8-5. Gaspar to Collins. 1 run on 2 hits. No errors and nobody left. The score at the end of 2 innings of play, Montreal 1, New York 1.
All right, we've got some scores coming in now in National League activity. Only 1 game in the National League this afternoon. No score between the Dodgers and San Francisco in the bottom half of the 3rd inning at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. Don Sutton is on the hill for the Dodgers. Sadecki pitching for the Giants. No score, bottom half of the 3rd inning. All other action in the National League will be at night. A final score: Cleveland won a ball game. They defeated the Yankees 6-2 at Yankee Stadium in New York. For the Indians, 6 runs and 4 hits and 1 error. For the Yankees, 2 runs and 7 hits and 2 errors. Paul the winner, Hamilton the loser. Chicago is playing at Kansas City, a twi-nighter. Oakland will be at California. Boston at Washington. One other day game to report on. The latest score we had, 3-1. Minnesota Twins over Seattle in the 6th inning. I believe there'll be something further in that one coming in a few minutes from now. That's right, as the man just hands me about 25 yards of ticker tape to start reading off. Well, we'll get to the ticker tape a little later on. But first of all, let's get to the next man up, or the first man up for the New York Mets in the top of the 3rd, Rod Gaspar.
Gaspar is 1 for 1. Single to right in the first. Then we'll have Kenny Boswell and Cleon Jones for the Mets here in the top of the 3rd. A 1-1 ball game. Gaspar really opens his stance up to that pitcher. Left-hand hitter, and he has that right foot just about pointing at first base. Takes the first pitch from Bill Stoneman, a strike called. 0-1. Stoneman has the sign. Here's the windup and the pitch. Swung on and popped up. Third base side. LeBoy comes back but gives up on it as it drifts back into the box seats behind the dugout. 0-2. Looking ahead to the Pittsburgh series. Tomorrow night, 8:05. Doc Ellis for the Pirates and Carl Morton will be pitching for the Expos. Saturday afternoon, it'll be Bob Moose for Pittsburgh, Larry Jaster for Montreal. And Sunday, 1:35 game, Jim Bunning for the Pirates, Mudcat Grant for the Expos. High and inside, a ball, 2 strikes. Rod Gaspar at the plate. Stoneman's pitch. Cut on, foul back to the left again. 1-2. The outfield is not deep for Gaspar, and they're straight away. The right side of the infield back. LeBoy just a step off the infield grass at third. Wills over towards second base from his shortstop position. Stoneman took a little time, and Gaspar steps out. Talking about that 22nd violation that was called on Bill Stoneman in St. Louis. Here's the curveball for a strike. Gaspar knew it. He just turned and walked away. 4th strikeout for Bill Stoneman. And he's pulled some batters here because they've all been on called strikes. 1 out, nobody on, and the batter, Ken Boswell, the second baseman. He hit into a double play in the first inning, 4-6-3. The pitch, swing and a foul, back to the left. That went into the press box, down to our left. The pitch, low and inside, ball 1. A ball and a strike.
They scattered like a flock of chickens, and that thing shot right back. Let it bounce first before picking it up in the press box.
Well, you know how those writers are, Russ. They're not like us broadcasters. You know, we'll try to make the catch, but those writers, they'll take it on the rebound. Here's the 1-1. Swing and a bouncer. Back to Stoneman. Nice grab by Bill. Flips to Clendenin at first, and Boswell is out of there. 2 away. Leon Jones, the batter. We got a base hit to center in the second to start the inning off. Went to third. On Cranepool's single to right, and scored when Jerry Grody walked with the bases loaded. That accounts for the Mets' run in this game. A 1-1 ball game. Top of the third. 2 outs. Leon Jones standing in there. Bill Stoneman's wind-up and pitch. Swung on. This one hit deep center field. Bosch giving chase, going back. Still back. He's at the fence and can't get it. It's out of here in the lower left-hand corner of the left field bleachers. Just cleared the wall about 415, 16 feet. And that puts the Mets back out in front 2-1, the second home run of the afternoon. So Cleon Jones is 2 for 2.
First baseman.
The fourth hit off Bill Stoneman, and that breaks a 1-1 ball game for the moment. Two to 1 Mets. The batter, Ed Cranepool, left-hand hitter. 1 for 1. On the letters, hit the inside corner. Strike called. 0-1. 2 outs with nobody on. The wind-up and pitch, check swing. It's low and inside. A ball and a strike. Stoneman ready. The 1-1 pitch, ground ball to the right side. Sutherland takes care of it, throws to Clendenin, and the Mets are through in the third. 1 run on 1 hit, a home run to the deep corner of left center by Cleon Jones. No errors in the field, nobody left on base at the end of 2.5. 2-1, the Mets lead the Expos.
Fans, remember the days of the long lineups to get to the ticket windows to go to a ball game? Remember the days of the switchboard being jammed with calls and you can't get through with your reservation request? Well, no more of that with the TRS computer setup. TRS electronically selects the best available seats in Jerry Park, and the computer prints your actual reserve tickets right on the spot. No more waiting in long lines at the ballpark office. No more waiting on those telephone calls. No more having to settle for less than the best seats available. And the TRS computer service is available in many areas, 11 states as a matter of fact, in the United States. So you folks down northeast United States, check with the computer service nearest you. If you'd like to find out, just call the Expos in Montreal at 875-2300. The area code is 514, and they'll let you know where the TRS computer nearest you is located. So see the Expos in action without waiting in line. Buy your tickets via TRS computers. Bill Stoneman will be the batter. And we'll have Don Bosch and Maury Wills. Stoney's up for the first time. Stoneman at the plate is batting .071. He's 1 for 14 this season. Swings and foul tips the first one. It bounces back to the screen. Russ, you ought to be able to answer that question that's on the message board in right center.
who hit the first home run to the Expos of 1969.
That's right. But let's let the fans just guess for a while. I was doing the play-by-play at Shea Stadium.
The 0-1 pitch hit the outside corner, and the count is 0-2.
Give them the answer in the next inning.
On Bill Stoneman. The first Expos home run. Stoneman stepped out for a minute. Wonder if our listeners just heard John Paul Thoreau give the answer. Swing and a miss, strike 3. JP didn't give his audience on the French network a chance to even think about that when he just came right out and gave him the answer. One away. Strikeout number 1 for Don Cardwell. Don Bosch is 0 for 1. Was out trying to bunt in the first inning. Here's the pitch. Taken for a strike. Bosch batting left hand. JP, you didn't even let him think about that. You gave him the answer right away. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Bosch. Swung on, hard hit ball, left center, going back. Gaspar gets under it. He's got it. Bosch tagged the ball well.
The shortstop.
Two away. The batter, Maury Wills, grounded out to short in the first. Batting left against Cardwell. Cardwell's allowed 2 hits, both in the second, a home run to Clendenin, a base hit to LeBoy. Off the glove of Kevin Collins, a third baseman. 2 outs, nobody on for Wills. A strike called on Maury. Wills batting 163. 2-1. The Mets lead the Expos. We're in the bottom of the third. The pitch missed the outside corner. A ball and a strike. The windup and the pitch. Cut on and fouled back to the left side. Strike 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Maury waiting now for the 1-2 as Cardwell does a little uniform adjustment, and he's ready. The 1-2 pitch, swing and a foul in the air to the left side, back into the stands, up top. The count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Another tight ball game here today. As the 1-2 almost got away from Grody, high and outside. And the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, the Pittsburgh Pirates have got an exciting ball club. You'll want to see them. They're in second place in this Eastern Division of the National League. They'll be here this weekend, coming in tomorrow night for the 8:05 game, and then Saturday afternoon at 2:15. Here's a ground ball to the left side of the infield. Harrelson up with it, fires to first to get Wills by a step. Cardwell puts the side down, 1-2-3 with nothing across here in the bottom of the third for the Expos. And as we go to the 4th inning at Jarry Park, it's New York 2, Montreal 1.
Well, just recapping the action, the New York Mets scored first in the second inning. Cleon Jones led off with a single, went all the way around to third on a single by Ed Kranepool, and then scored when Jerry Grody walked with the bases loaded. The Expos tied it up at 1-all on a home run by Don Clendenin over the left field fence into the left field bleachers in the second inning. Then the Mets took a 2-1 lead when Cleon Jones hit a tremendous home run to the deep part of the left center field fence, right at the corner of the left field bleachers, not far from center, and as Dave said, probably traveled about 415 feet. Jones really smashed that one, and that's how it stands right now, a 2-1 lead for the New York Mets over the Montreal Expos. But of course, this game is far from over. We're moving into the top half of the 4th inning, and the first man up for the Mets will be right fielder Ron Swoboda. Swoboda was one of the 4 strikeout victims of Bill Stoneman in this ball game so far. The Mets have managed 4 hits. The Expos have picked up only 2.
Combined score now at the end of 3. For New York, 2 runs, 4 hits, no errors. For the Expos, 1 run, 2 hits, and no errors. The Mets 2, the Expos 1, and coming in here to tell you all about it, Russ Taylor. Russ?
Thanks very much, Dave. Well, Ron Swoboda steps in. Swoboda called out on strikes in his only appearance in the game so far in the second inning. Here he is in the top half of the 4th inning, and Stoneman delivers. Swoboda checks his swing and a low outside pitch for ball 1. 1-0 the count on Ron Swoboda. First man up for the Mets, top half of the 4th inning. Next pitch, in there for call strike 1. 1-1 the count on Swoboda. The answer to that question, who hit the first Expo home run? Dangerous Dan McGinn. 1-miss for strike 2. McGinn, working in relief that opening day, hit it over the right field fence at Shea Stadium in New York.
Who'd he hit it off of?
Tom Seaver.
What inning?
In the 4th inning.
How many outs?
Low and away. 1 out.
LeBoy had grounded out short to first. Who else hit home runs in that game?
You were sneaking a look at your scorecard.
I was.
2-2 the count. The pitch to Swoboda. On the first bounce to Wills, it's short. Maury over to first for the out. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is your Expos Baseball Radio Network.
At 103.1 on your FM dial, this is WHRL in Albany, New York.
It's 5 o'clock. Then the message board had another quiz. Who was the first winning pitcher opening day? Who was the winning pitcher for the Expos opening day? Think about that one. Stoneman is all set. The pitch is inside for ball 1, and Kev Collins, the third baseman. Collins threw a base on balls in the second inning. Jerry Grody in the on-deck circle. 1 away, top half of the 4th inning. 2-1 Mets over the Expos. Strike called. The count is 1-1 with 1 away. Good afternoon crowd here at Jerry Park. Estimate probably around 7,000. Could be more, and of course could be less. Next pitch is foul down the first base line, and Yogi Berra fields it. And gets a cheer from his old fans back of first base. I guess a lot of them who remember Yogi with the New York Bears in 1946 when he visited Montreal. And of course, perhaps most of them remember Berra as one of the great clutch hitters of baseball while with the New York Yankees. 1-2 the count on Kev Collins. Stoneman delivers. Change of speed on that one inside. Misses for ball 2. 2-2 the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 away. Top of the 4th inning. As the Expos try to win this final game of the 3-game series. It's high and outside for ball 3. Full count now. Called by plate umpire Harry Wendelstedt. Ken Burkhart, the ump at first. Ed Sudol at second and Lee Ware at third base. Stallman looks down at Bateman for a sign. LeBoy moves in a bit at third. The 3-2 pitch. Swung on the ground down to Clendenin. Up with it, 1 glove on it. And tags the bag for the out. Collins goes out to Don Clendenin unassisted. That brings up Jerry Grody. He knocked in the first run. We really shouldn't say knocked it in. He forced it in, walked with the bases loaded in the top half of the second inning, but he gets a run batted in just the same. Right-hand batter, Grody, starting for the first time in this series. J.C. Martin had caught for the Mets in their first 2 ball games. Grody swings at the first pitch foul, back of the third base dugout of the Expos into the seats. 0-1 the count with 2 away. Stallman working hard and throwing a lot more pitches than in his last ball game, and certainly than in that previous one in Philadelphia. The pitch is low and away. For ball 1. 1-1 the count on Jerry Grody. Cal McClish says a pitcher can go as high as 120 pitches, and then he's just not effective, although some pitchers, of course, have won ball games throwing a lot more pitches. Call strike 2. 1-2. McClish extremely pleased with the performance of Mike Wagner last night. Well, he should be, as Wagner gave up only 5 hits. Swung out and missed. Strike 3. Brody becomes strikeout victim number 5 for Bill Stoneman. So the Mets go down in order. No runs, no hits, no Expo errors, and nobody left on. Going into the bottom half of the 4th inning, the Mets lead this ball game 2-1.
Take an opportunity here to mention this weekend series again, because after these 3 days for the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Expos will be off on Monday. We'll be in Atlanta on Tuesday and Wednesday, an off day on Thursday, and not back here to Jerry Park until next Friday night for an 8:05 game to open a series with the Cincinnati Reds. So we hope that you'll be here this weekend. Friday night, 8:05, Doc Ellis for the Pirates. Carl Morton will be pitching tomorrow night for the Expos. Saturday afternoon, the game starts at 2:15. It'll be Larry Jaster on the mound for Montreal, Bob Moose for Pittsburgh. And Sunday afternoon, to wind up the series, a 1:35 game featuring Jim Bunning of the Pittsburgh Pirates against Jim Grant of the Expos. So we hope you'll be with us here at Jerry Park this weekend. We'll be looking forward to seeing a lot of people from the northeastern United States up here.
Doc Ellis was the losing pitcher. The Expos beat him the last time they met him. Larry Jaster got the win. That was the breakaway game in Pittsburgh, the final game of the series last Sunday afternoon. Jaster going the distance. Well, Rusty Staub steps in. Rusty hasn't had an official appearance at the plate. He walked in the 1st inning. Cardwell is all set on the hill. Delivers. Rusty takes inside for ball 1.
I think we're also going to find this weekend, Russ, we'll have some Toronto people up here. Of course, folks have been coming in real good from the Ottawa Valley and other areas surrounding Montreal and close by, but
strike call. Rusty faked a bunt.
we'll find a lot on the weekends. People have the opportunity to come up and spend the weekend in Montreal, and what a better way to spend the weekend. Take in Expos baseball.
Well, the folks up in Ottawa, it's a beautiful drive down from Bytown. And, of course, from the border, Plattsburgh being only 65 miles away. On the ground, right to Cardwell on the 1-1 pitch. Cardwell over to Queen, pulled it first for the out. Staub is out of there.
The song goes, the left fielder,
Mac Jones steps in. Mac hit into a fielder's choice in the first. Rusty Staub got on with a walk, and Mac forced him out at second. Going Harrelson to Boswell. So here he is in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Big Mac Jones. Cardwell delivers. Oh, Mac got a hold of that one. There's a hard one. It's going. It's gone. Goodbye. Home run for Mac Jones. Over the right center field wall. And the Expos have tied it up with their second home run of the afternoon. How about that one? The crowd giving Big Mac a standing ovation. Wait till he returns to left field. His folks out there will give him another standing ovation, you may be sure. Dave, there was no question about that one.
None whatsoever. Gaspar, the young rookie, gave chase to that one, but Swoboda just took some time off and watched it go.
Clendenin up, takes the first pitch outside. Well, we've seen 3 home runs in this ball game so far. Only 4 runs. The pitch to Clendenin on the ground, down to Collins. He bobbles, can't find it, and Clendenin's on first base. Line shot to Kev Collins. He fumbled the ball and lost it, turned around and couldn't find the ball, and by that time Don Clendenin was on first base. So, charge it as an error to third baseman Kev Collins. And it's not too often when Collins muffs the ground ball, but that was a hard hit shot by Don Clendenin. Coco LeBoy's at the plate. Coco had a single in the second. into left field. Clendenin with the lead off first base. One away. This ball game all tied up 2-2 and Jones home run. Oh, that was a foul ball, and lucky for the Mets and Mr. Cardwell, because Coco came right around on that inside pitch and pulled it right out of the park. But miles foul. Wasn't any question about it being fair or foul.
LeBoy really pulls that ball. How many times have we seen him hit either line drives or smash ground balls to that third baseman hard?
The boy on the ground foul, again pulling it down the third baseline past Peanuts Lowry. 0-2 as Cardwell moves out in front of his man, Coco LeBoy. Don Clendenin, the runner on first base.
Hey, Russ, that first day in New York, the Expos hit 3 home runs. Who hit the last one?
Coco LeBoy. The fellow at the plate right now. The 0-2 pitch. Out into short left field. Coming in for it is Jones, and Jones takes it for the out. Well, Dave, both Joneses have home runs this afternoon. Cleon and Mack.
You've heard about the Jones boys, haven't you?
Well, it's up to John Bateman to keep up with the Joneses. John hit a home run in last night's ball game. And he'll be coming up shortly if Gary Sutherland gets on. There are 2 outs. Sutherland's the batter. Right-hand batter. Throw to first, and Clendenin's back in loads of time. Sullivan grounded out second to first in his only appearance. That was in the second inning. The pitch. There goes the runner, Clendenin. The throw to the bag. He's out. As Jerry Grote, one of the fine arms in the National League, fired it down to shortstop Bud Harrelson for the out. So Clendenin is out of there, 2-6. Sutherland will have to wait until the 5th inning. For the Expos. In the 4th inning, 1 run on 1 hit, home run by Mac Jones, 1 Met error, nobody left on base. After 4 complete, a 2-all tie between the Mets and the Expos.
Well, fans, the Expos yearbook, as you know, is ready, available for mailing. They're going fast. I want you to order your copy now. Send one to your family and to your friends. The Expos yearbooks are a great gift idea for an Expos fan. It's a 68-page book in color, loaded with sketches of Expos players, the manager, and coaching staff. Complete information on all departments and phases of the Montreal Expos operation. Pictures of your favorite Expos, action shots from baseball games, pictures of the team, the trainer, the equipment manager, an inside look at the Expos in the beautiful 1969 yearbook. There's also ticket ordering information and a detailed seating diagram of Jerry Park included for easy reference all season long. For your copy by mail, send $1.25 for the cost of the book, postage, and handling to Yearbook, Jerry Park, Montreal. Order your copy today. Be in the know with your very own copy of the Expos Yearbook.
I don't know if you can hear the crowd in the background, but as Mac Jones returned to his spot out in left field, they gave him a tremendous cheer, and of course, Mac well deserved it. All his supporters out there in left field, they really like the big fellow, because he can swing the big stick, as he did in the bottom half of the 4th inning for that home run to tie the score at 2-all. Don Cardwell, the pitcher, steps in. Cardwell looked at a 3rd strike in the 2nd inning. Bill Stallman on the hill for the Expos. Stallman has given up 4 hits. First pitch is in there for call strike 1. 0-1 the count on Don Cardwell. That's right-handed. Takes the next pitch for call strike 2. Expos and the Pirates open a 3-game series here at Jerry Park tomorrow night at 8:05. Broadcast time on the Expo Baseball Radio Network, 7:45. 3 straight pitches, and Don Cardwell is out of there. That's the 6th strikeout for Bill Stoneman in this afternoon's game. That brings up the top of the batting order. Harrelson was strikeout victim number 1, leading off for the Mets. In the top of the first, he was called out on strikes. Then he hit into a fielder's choice in the second inning. Left-hand batter, Bud Harrelson, attempts a bunt, but doesn't really attempt it, just faked the bunt on that inside pitch, ball one. Kokolo Boy playing in close on the infield grass at third. Outfield playing Harrelson almost little league depth. He fouls the next pitch back of third base. So I guess they have the book on Bud Harrelson. And he doesn't hit for the distance. Jones in short left field. Bosch has moved over to left center, short left center field. Staub in short right field. They'll have to do a lot of running if Harrelson ever crosses them up and tags the ball. Faked another bunch high and outside for ball two. 2-1 the count on Bud Harrelson. Eddie Yost coaching for the Mets at third. Yogi Berra at first base. Rod Gaspar in the on-deck circle. High and outside to Harrelson for ball three. So Stoney won't want to walk this fellow Harrelson, the light-hitting Bud Harrelson, so look for this next pitch to be right down the groove. 3-1's the count with one away. Stoneman looked over to Rusty Staub in right field. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Swung on and missed for strike two. Stoney knew he had to come across with that one. And Harrelson knew it would be there, and he went after it. 3-2 the count. Full count now on Bud Harrelson. And Stoney will have to come in with another big pitch. Right down the middle. Here it is. Swung on and missed. Strike three. 7th strikeout for Bill Stoneman in this ball game so far. Rod Gaspar steps in. Gaspar had a single into right field in the first inning and was called out on strikes in the third. So here he is in the 5th inning. Gaspar got that big hit for the Mets last night in the 9th inning and stole second on Wagner and scored in the single. Accidentally fouls the first pitch to the left of the plate for strike one. Gaspar led off the 9th last night. The ball game was tied up. He singled to right, stole second, and scored on that single by Boswell. So here he is in the 5th inning. The count is 0-1 on Rod Gaspar, the Mets center fielder. Bats with his foot in the bucket. His right foot way out. Hard hit ball in the left center field. Going back for it is Jones. He's calling for it, and he's got it for the out. For the Mets in their half of the 5th inning, no runs, no hits, no Expo errors, and of course, nobody left on base. Going into the bottom half of the 5th inning, it's still a 2-all tie.
Let's check some of the other scores now. In the only other game underway this afternoon in the National League, Los Angeles is at San Francisco, and at Candlestick Park, Don Sutton pitching for the Dodgers, Ray Sadecki for San Francisco. Dodgers lead 3-0 after 4.5 innings. Willie Davis hit a home run in the 5th for L.A. Tonight we'll have St. Louis at Pittsburgh, San Diego at Atlanta, and Houston at Cincinnati, all under the lights. Over in the American League, 2 afternoon games are over. Cleveland beat New York 6-2. The winner, Paul. The loser, Hamilton. 6 runs, 4 hits, and an error for Cleveland. For New York, 2 runs, 7 hits, and 2 errors. And the Seattle-Minnesota game just ended with the Twins beating the Pilots 4-1. The winner, Boswell. The loser, Bell. 4-13-0 for Minnesota. For Seattle, 1 run, 5 hits, no errors. 4-1 Minnesota over Seattle.
Gary Sutherland was left at the plate when Don Clendenin was caught stealing in the 4th inning, so Sutherland's back to the plate now here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. The first pitch to Sutherland swung on. Down at Collins. A nice stop by the third baseman. Long throw to first in time for the out. Well, Collins is a good glove man despite that error in the last inning. And he backhanded. That's a shot by Gary Sutherland, and made the long throw in time to nip the Expos second baseman. John Bateman steps in. John hit a long one to center field in the second inning. His only appearance at the plate so far. Right-hand batter. Sign on the board, welcome Kiwanians from the USA. Nice to have you with us. A lot of Kiwanians in town today. Seen loads of them downtown. Strike call. Bateman was going after it, checked his swing, but that breaking pitch just nipped the outside corner. Nope. Yes, the board doesn't show it. The count should be 1-1. They still show 1-0, but it's 1-1. Fouled into the ground for strike 2. 1-2 the count on John Bateman. John really got a hold of one last night, getting it out into the left center field seats, about 15-20 rows up. The ump is flashing the sign of the scoreboard, telling him to switch it. Still doesn't get the message. The count is 1-2. Cardwell is all set now. Here's the pitch to Bateman. Fouled into the dirt. Ball strike 2. Sense of humor, the guy up on the board. He spells out when the ump signaled that it was wrong, he just says, ouch. Spell it out on the electronic board. I wonder if he did that deliberately, just so he can get his gag across the board. The ball's into the air. Calling for it is Kev Collins at third base in foul territory. He takes it for the out. Bill Stoneman steps in now. Stoneman struck out in his only appearance in the third inning. Stoney not considered a fence buster. He's had a hit anyway. One hit in 9 at-bats. A slow roller right back to Cardwell. And he throws him out at first. That's it for the Expos in their half of the fifth inning. 3 up, 3 down, no runs, no hits, no met errors, nobody left stranded. The score after 5 complete innings of play, still a 2-all tie between the Expos and the Mets.
You know, Major League Baseball has come to Montreal in a big way. Thousands of people of all ages are enjoying baseball at Jarry Park. The games are great, action-packed, filled with excitement for everybody, every minute of every game. And advance ticket sales are available daily from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. here at Jarry Park. Tickets also are sold after the night games. Big League Baseball gets to people, all kinds of people. So get your tickets now and be assured of good seats for every game. Come on out and join the fun and don't miss seeing all the stars of the National League in action here at Jarry Park. And bring your family and friends along, too. Make it a baseball holiday. Get your tickets now. Remember, tickets are on sale every day, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. here at Jarry Park and immediately after night games. Box seats are $5, reserve seats $3.50 and $2.50. Bleacher seats are $1.50 for adults and $1 for children. I'd like to take a moment to mention here that pretty soon now, and we'll be announcing it here, and I know you'll hear about it in the areas in which you're listening right now, there are going to be several Expos ticket offices opened up in the northeastern United States. The exact locations, cities, and states will be passing along to you, but we thank you for your patience, and rest assured that there will be several ticket offices opening in the northeastern U.S. very shortly. And I would say probably within a week, maybe 10 days at the most. At any rate, stay tuned and follow the action here on the network. Come on out to Jarry Park to see the games, and we'll keep you informed as soon as those ticket offices are opened in the northeastern United States. Russ?
7,741.
The attendance here is 7,741. The batter is Ken Boswell for the Mets in the top half of the sixth inning. Boswell 0 for 2. Hit into a double play. Takes the second pitch high and inside for ball 2. They asked the question, who pitched the second no-hitter of the season? The answers on the board, Maloney, of course, last night of Cincinnati, and now they just put up a message. The whole world knows who pitched the first no-hitter of 1969. Another inside pitch. The count is 3-0. And the answer is standing down on the mound right now with a 3-0 count, facing him on Ken Boswell, the Mets second baseman. Well, Boswell will be looking in this one. He does. It's a call, strike one. 3-1 the count on Ken Boswell. Cleon Jones, very dangerous Cleon Jones in the on-deck circle. The 3-1 pitch. Swung on the ground of Sutherland. Nice play. Sutherland the first for the out. Sutherland had to move over to his left for that one and move rather quickly. He did, and just sucked it up like a vacuum cleaner and fired it over to Don Clendenin at first base. This brings up Cleon Jones. Jones has been a troublemaker for the Expos, no question about that. He scored both Met runs this afternoon. He singled in the second and scored later on when he was forced in. Got down to third on a hit by Greenpool. And then the bases were loaded by Stoneman, and Stoneman walked Brody, forcing in Jones. First pitch is in there for call, strike one. Then in his second appearance, he hit a tremendous blast, home run, to deep left center field. More towards center, I guess, than left center. It was a long one, 415 feet away. And, of course, we know what he did last night. Hit that long triple and scored on a sacrifice fly. Pitches outside for ball one on that sacrifice fly by Greenpool. So Jones has hurt the Expos. He was kept off the score sheet in the first game, going 0 for 4. The 1-1 pitch to Jones is high and outside for ball two. Greenpool in the on-deck circle. This ball game is tied up 2-2 in the top half of the sixth inning. Stallman looks down at Bateman, gets his sign, and here's the 2-1 pitch. Line shot into center field, and Cleon Jones has his third hit of the afternoon. And that's the first hit off Bill Stallman since Jones homered in the third. And it's the fifth hit off Stoneman this afternoon. He lines a shot out into center field. That brings up Greenpool. Greenpool had a single in the second. Grounded out second to first in the third. Last night, he had a single and a sacrifice fly. Of course, the day before, knocked in both runs with 2 home runs. The pitch to Greenpool is fouled on the ground along the first baseline. Strike one. Runner on first base is Cleon Jones. The Mets leave for Chicago following today's game. Maury Wills comes in from shortstop to talk to Bill Stoneman. Probably going over a few of their defensive signals. Now Wills returns to his defensive position at short, and Stoneman steps in the slab. The count is 0-1 on Greenpool. Stoney knows he's got to be careful with this big Met first baseman. Left-hand batter. That right field fence looks inviting to big Greenpool. Jones throw to first. Jones back in plenty of time. See if Jones tries to go to second. He's got great speed. Another throw to first. And again, Jones is back in time. Clendenin holding him close to the bag now. Now Jones stretches his lead a little bit more. Stallman watching him closely. The 0-1 pitch is outside for ball one. 1 ball and 1 strike. Stoney's got to keep a close eye on Cleon Jones at first base. This ball game is tied up 2-2. Stolen base was costly last night. Gaspar stole second, and then came in on a single with the winning run. There goes Johns. The ball's hit foul down the line, and lucky for the Expos it was. Cranepool mad at himself, shakes his head. A line shot down the first baseline, just about a fraction of an inch, I suppose about an inch, on this side of the foul line. Jones was off with the pitch. Well, the count is 1-2. Stoney's got to keep a close eye on Cleon Jones at first base. This ball game is tied up 2-all. Stolen base was costly last night. Gaspar stole second, and then came in on a single with the winning run. There goes Johns. The ball's hit foul down the line, and lucky for the Expos it was. Cranepool mad at himself, shakes his head. A line shot down the first baseline, just about a fraction of an inch, I suppose about an inch, on this side of the foul line. Jones was off with the pitch. Well, the count is 1-2. 1 ball and 2 strikes with 1 out on Ed Cranepool. Jones is back now at the bag at first base. And downstairs hollers for a double play. The throw to first. Jones back. The pitch is lined out into center field for a base hit. Jones makes the turn to second and holds up as Bosch fires into Maury Wills to the cutoff. Let's take 10 seconds to pause for station identification. This is your Expo Baseball Radio Network.
At 103.1 on your FM dial, this is WHRL in Albany, New York. It's 5:30.
Well, we've got runners on first and second with 1 out, and Ron Swoboda steps in, and again Maury John Bateman this time went up to talk to Bill Stolman on the mound. They've got to be careful with Swoboda. He can hit the long ball. Swoboda hitting .320 for the Mets. Stallman taking loads of time up on the mound. He knows he's got to be careful. Wills fakes Jones back to the bag. There goes Jones. There goes the throw. And they've got him! Oh, boy! Can't understand it. Stallman was on the slab, and Jones started. He was a dead duck before Bill let that ball go, Dave.
And it's ironic, too. Bill did not make a quick throw over there. It was almost as if the screams from the fans had to draw Bill's attention to the fact that Jones was running. Bill didn't spot him till Cleon was about 2/3 of the way down the line, but Bill made a good quick throw over to LeBoy to get the runner.
How cocky can a guy get? Jones went to third, with Stallman still having the ball in his hand. Foul pitch. Jones broke for third, and Stallman hadn't even gone into his motion. He was just standing there, so he just glanced over. What is this guy trying to do? And fired it right over to Coco LeBoy, who put the tag on Cleon Jones. Well, that's a big out. Makes 2 out now, with Swoboda at the plate. The count is 1-0 on Ron Swoboda. The pitch is high and outside for ball 2. 1-1 the count on Swoboda. Outfield playing him straight away in regular depth. The 1-1 pitch. He looks. Ball 2. Swoboda was going to go for it, and then just decided not to. Let it go by for ball 2. 2-1. This ball game is tied up at 2-all. Ed Cranepool, the runner on first base, with 2 out. Stoneman watching his man at first base. The 2-1 pitch swung on and fouled for strike 2. 2-2 the count. The crowd here at Jerry Park this afternoon, 7,741. Tomorrow night, the Pirates will be in town. Pirates will arrive in Montreal tonight after closing off that series with St. Louis. They open 3-game series. High outside for ball 3. Full count now on Ron Swoboda. Tony takes his cap off and wipes his brow. Glances over toward first base. Clendenin not holding him on the bag now with 2 out. Now Clendenin sneaks over to the bag, then backs up behind Cranepool. Here's the pitch. On the ground, down to LaBoy. A nice stop by Coco. Long throw to first. Gets away from Clendenin. Cranepool heads for third. And Swoboda gets second base. Well, that was a difficult throw for LaBoy to make, as he snared that ball completely off balance, fired to first base. It bounced in front of Clendenin, and Coco gets charged with the error on the throw. Wild throw by Coco LaBoy.
The third baseman, Kevin.
So Swoboda is down to second, and Cranepool goes all the way around to third. So again, Stoney finds himself in trouble. Kev Collins steps in. Runners on first and on second and third. That's Swoboda on second and Cranepool on third. Collins steps in with 2 out. The score is tied 2-all. Collins is a left-hand batter. One official trip, and he grounded out to Don Clendenin at first base. He walked in the second inning. Tony watches his man at third, delivers his first pitch outside to Collins for ball 1. Dorman's next pitch. In there for call strike 1. 1-1 the count. Gil Hodges, the manager of the New York Mets, telling us before today's game that he was really impressed with Montreal. Impressed with the hospitality shown here. For all you folks down in the States listening to our broadcast and up in Ottawa, that's something you'll find in Montreal. Hospitality is spoken here. 2-1 the count on Collins. And where some people have been critical of the field, not Gil Hodges. Gil said that he was pleasantly surprised at the condition of the field, considering it's a new park. Pitch is low for ball 3. 3-1. And the infield still is a little rough, but he hasn't seen any bad plays because of it. But nothing but praise from Gil Hodges. In there for call strike 2 on the 3-1 pitch. Stoney knew he had to come in with it. And the take sign was on for Kev Collins. So the count is 3-2 with 2 out, runners in second and third, and the ball game is tied up 2-all. So another big pitch coming up from Bill Stoneman. He looks down at John Bateman, gets his sign, glances over toward Ed Cranepool, leading off third. The pitch is fouled. And that's the third base on balls issued by Bill Stoneman in this ball game. Now this brings up Jerry Grody, and Grody has something to prove to manager Gil Hodges. Grody has been off to a disappointing start. He's hitting .235 right now for the Mets. Grody has knocked in 8 runs this year. So with ducks on the pond this time, he's a dangerous man. The pitch is in there for call strike 1. 0-1 the count on Jerry Grody, right-hand batter.
Open batter, please. Jerry Grody,
The sacks are loaded. Top half of the sixth inning. The pitch. In there for call strike two as Stoney moves way out of his man. On 2, and you may be sure Stallman's not going to give Grody anything nice on this next pitch. And yet, who knows? He might just try to nip that outside corner. The 0-2 pitch, way outside for ball 1. It's 1-2 now on Jerry Grody. Outfield playing him straight away. All three are motionless right now. Jones in left, Bosch in center, and Staub in right. Now Rusty moves in a few steps in right field. The 1-2 pitch. Swung on. Line shot on the right field. Staub goes back, takes it for the out. Well, Rusty moved a few steps just before the pitch, as we pointed out, and that's all he needed. He had played Jerry Grody perfectly. For the Mets, in their half of the sixth, no runs on 2 hits, 1 Expo error, 3 men left on base. Going into the bottom half of the sixth inning, still a 2-all tie between the Mets and the Expos.
We'll take a quick look at that scoreboard for you again. A couple of games this afternoon have been completed, both in the American League. Minnesota beat Seattle 4-1. Boswell the winner, Bell the loser. For the Twins, 4 runs, 13 hits, and no errors. And for Seattle, 1 run, 5 hits, no errors. 4-1, the Twins over Seattle. In the other day game played in the American League, Cleveland beat New York 6-2. For the Indians, 6 runs, 4 hits, 1 error. New York, 2 runs, 7 hits, 2 errors. Paul the winner, Hamilton the loser. Duke Sims hit a home run for Cleveland. 6-2, the Indians over the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. Tonight in the American League, there's a twilight affair, Chicago at Kansas City. 2 other night games, Boston at Washington and Oakland at California. In the National League this afternoon, 1 other game going on. San Francisco trailing Los Angeles at Candlestick Park. The Dodgers 3 and the Giants nothing. They're in the 5th inning.
Here are the totals after 6 innings. The Mets 2 runs and 4 hits and 1 error. Bottom half of the 6th inning, pardon me. Well, we'll bring you the totals up to date after 6 complete innings. Right now, Mets have had 2 runs on 6 hits and 1 error. Expos 2 runs on 3 hits and 1 error. The top of the batting order comes up. Looks like they have a drunk on the field they're trying to get rid of. He's wearing one of these hard hats. An usher is trying to get him off the field. Standing with his hands in his pockets, he won't move. Now the usher finally convinces him, has to give him a gentle shove. The drunk doesn't like it. Barr swings at the first pitch, strike 1, misses. Count is 0-1 on Don Bosch. As Cardwell faces the top of the mid order. On the ground, down to Harrelson at short. He gloves it. Over to first for the out. Boy, nothing much gets by that Bud Harrelson at shortstop. Brings up Maury Wills. Maury Wills hitting 163 going into this afternoon's game. Boy, Maury is in a terrible slump right now. Defensively, he's beginning to look like the Wills of old. Cardwell all set. The pitch to Wills is high for ball 1. Rusty Staub in the on-deck circle. Cardwell looks down at Jerry Grody for a sign. The 1-0 pitch to Wills. He attempts a bunt. Grody falls over, flat in his face, and rolls a bit. It was fouled. May have hurt his knee. Still down on his knees, the Met trainer now gets up and runs over to home plate. Gil Hodges walking very slowly to the plate. The trainer down there just checking with Grody. It was an attempted bunt by Will. The ball fell foul right at the plate. Grody got up and just sort of rolled over and trying to feel it. He may have twisted his knee. The side of his knee, the trainer seems to be rubbing it a bit. Yep, he's up to his feet. Now does a few knee bends to see if it's all right. Hard to say just yet now. Gil Hodges looks with concern, but he's going to leave Grody in there. Probably says to Jerry, if it's bothering you, let me know, because Grody will have to spring if Maury Wills gets on. There's no question about that. He'll have to be at his best on that knee. He's down in the squatting position right now. Ready to resume play. Maury Wills at bat. The count is 1-1 with Wills with one out. Maury batting left-handed. Cardwell all set. Wills swings and pops it up in the air. Grody's up looking for it. To the left of home plate. Throws his mask away. Takes it for the out. Wills pops out to Jerry Grody. Well, it'll be up to Rusty Staub here in the bottom half of the sixth inning. Rusty walked in the first and grounded out pitcher to first in the fourth inning. Rusty didn't get a hit last night. He walked twice and was out twice on ground balls. The day before had one hit in the series. The first pitch to Staub is in there for call strike one. So Rusty has had only one hit in this series so far. He'd like to tag one. Any kind of a hit for Mr. Staub. He'll be happy, and so will the Expos. The 0-1 pitch. Inside, just below the knees. And the count is 1-1 in Staub. 2 out. Nobody on. Ball game all tied up at 2-all. Cardwell's got to be careful with Mr. Staub. The 1-1 pitch. It's high for ball 2. Rusty has walked 17 times this year. I haven't looked at the league statistics, but that's got to be right up near the top. I feel playing him deep, particularly Swoboda in right field. Line shot into left field. Jones moving over on the right. Oh, a nice catch by Cleon Jones on that line shot by Rusty Staub to left field. Oh, on the dead run, Cleon Jones just got his glove to it. Gets a fine round of applause from the fans here. The Expos, no runs, no hits, no net errors, nobody left on. The score after 6 complete is still a 2-all tie.
Fans, this is the final game of a 3-game series. Pittsburgh Pirates will be in here for the weekend. Then the Expos will make a short trip to Atlanta for 2 games. Then back to Montreal for a big 9-game homestand beginning May 9th, featuring the Cincinnati Reds, the Houston Astros, and the Atlanta Braves. This will be the first opportunity for Expos fans to see some of the teams of the Western Division. Tommy Helms, Pete Rose, the rest of the Cincinnati Reds will be here for a 3-game series, Friday, May 9th at 8:05, Saturday, May 10th at 2:15, and Sunday, May 11th at 1:35. Then Harry the Hat Walker and his Houston Astros will be in town for a 2-game series on Tuesday and Wednesday nights, the 13th and 14th. Following an open date on Thursday, the Atlanta Braves come in for a big 4-game set. Make your plans and get your tickets now while there are plenty of good seats still available. Don't miss this exciting 9-game homestand featuring some of the teams of the Western Division.
All right, here are the 6th inning total. The Mets have had 2 runs and 4 hits, 1 error. Expos 2 runs, 3 hits, and 1 error. Stillman has struck out 7 batters, walked 3. Cardwell struck out 1 and issued 1 base on balls. And Don Cardwell will be the batter for the New York Mets to start off the 7th inning.
Cardwell is 0 for 2. He was called out on strikes in the second, went down swinging in the 5th. Right-hand hitter. Another gem of a game here today, tied up at 2-2. A curve and a strike to Cardwell. 0-1. Cleon Jones hit a home run here today for the Mets. Don Clendenin and Mac Jones have homered for the Expos. 2-2 ball game. Pitch low and outside. Ball one. 1 ball and 1 strike to Don Cardwell. Then we'll have Bud Harrelson and Rod Gaspar. Stoneman has the sign. Here's the windup and the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Stoneman has logged 7 strikeouts in this one. Got Harrelson in the first. Struck out Swoboda and Cardwell in the second. Gaspar in the third. Grody in the fourth. Harrelson and Cardwell in the fifth. Here's the 1-2. Cardwell in the seventh. He goes down swinging. Strikeout number 8 for Bill Stoneman. 1 away, and the batter, Bud Harrelson. Left-hand hitter is 0 for 3 here today. Struck out twice. Hit into a fielder's choice to end the inning in the second. All tied up 2-2. Mac Jones' home run in the fourth tied it. First pitch low for a ball. Harrelson started the day batting .236. The fastball, low and inside, 2-0. Boy, we've had some great ball games here in this Mets series. All 3 of them have been real duels. Here's the windup in the pitch. Curve is low. Ball 3. 3-0 to Harrelson. Grant, Kuzman, and Ryan all pitched well on the opening day of this series 2 days ago. Here's a strike on the outside corner. 3-1 to Harrelson. Seaver and Wagoner last night, and now Stoneman and Cardwell here today. Steve Shea warming up in the Expos bullpen. The pitch from Stoneman low for ball 4, and Stoneman and Bateman both had some thoughts about that call. Bateman talking a little bit with the plate umpire, Harry Wendelstedt. Harrelson draws a walk. The 4th walk given up by Bill Stoneman. 1 out, 1 on. Rod Gaspar, the batter. 1 for 3. Singled in the first. Called out on strikes in the third. Flied to center in the fifth. Harrelson the runner now. See if Gaspar tries to move him up here with 1 out. LeBoy in on the edge of the grass at third base. Gaspar stepped out for a moment. Gaspar came to the park today hitting .214. There goes the runner. The pitch, a swing and a foul. Strike 1. So Harrelson will make his way back. Gaspar looks up to the third base coach, Eddie Yost. Yost flashing signs. All right, Gaspar sets in now and gets himself set. Leading off first, Harrelson. Stoneman with a look at the runner, and here's the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a bouncer goes to the right side. Clendenin up with it. The play is to first, and they get Gaspar. Harrelson moves down to second. Gaspar is out 3-1. Clendenin to Stoneman covering. And Harrelson now at second base with 2 outs, and the batter will be Ken Boswell. Stoneman's retired him 3 times this afternoon. He hasn't had a ball out of the infield, hit into a double play, and grounded out twice. Left-hand hitter.
McGinn has gone out to start warming up, too, with Steve Shea in the Expo bullpen.
Stoneman with a look at Harrelson at second. Here's the pitch and a strike called on Boswell. Checked with trainer Joe Liscio today. See how all the Expos were doing physically. No big problems. Everybody's in pretty good shape. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Low and outside. Ball one. 1-1 to Boswell. A 2-2 ball game here in the top of the seventh. The Mets and the Expos all tied up. And the Mets have got Harrelson at second base with 2 outs. 1-1, the count on Boswell. The pause, and now the pitch. The curve for a strike. 1-2. That's the pitch that Stoneman was not getting over for strikes in the early part of this game. Joe said a couple of the boys had some very minor colds, but nothing serious. Mike Wegener's arm was a little tender after last night's game. He was soaking his arm in ice when I went in to see Joe today, but Mike won't miss his next turn. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and fouled off to the left. So the count remains a ball and 2 strikes. The Expos have 1 victory over the Mets. That was opening day, the 8th of April, when the season got started. The Mets have since won 4 straight. So the Expos want this one badly this afternoon, tied up here 2-2 in the 7th inning. A look at the runner. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Outside, ball 2. Here at Jarry Park, the Expos are 2-6. Beat the Cardinals 1, and they've beaten the Cubs in 1 game. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Just missed the inside corner, up around the letters. And Bill Stoneman was a little upset with that call. 3 balls and 2 strikes. A full count with 2 outs and a runner at second. Boswell, the batter, Cleon Jones, is on deck. And you know that Bill Stoneman doesn't want to have to face him here with a runner on, let alone with 2 on. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Strikes him out with a, well, it's foul tip. Sorry, got away from John Bateman. It was off John's right shin guard. So Boswell stays alive, 3-2 with 2 outs. Los Angeles leading San Francisco this afternoon. The Dodgers just trail the Giants by 1 game in that Western Division of the National League. Here's the pitch, inside for ball 4. Boswell draws a walk. 2 walks given up in the inning now to place runners at first and second with 2 outs. 5th walk issued by Bill Stoneman. And the batter will be Cleon Jones, who's gone 3 for 3. John Bateman's out to the mound to talk to Stoneman.
Cleon Jones.
Gene Mark goes out of the mound now. John Bateman walked up to talk to Bill Stoneman. And now Mark is out there on the hill to talk to his right-hander to see if everything's all right. Apparently everything is. Gene ran out and now runs right back into the dugout.
Cleon Jones, the only Met to have played in all 21 games. He's hit safely in 12 of his last 13 games. Batting .410 coming into this one. He's gone 3 for 3 today, including a home run. Here's the pitch. A curveball broke beautifully. Right across the letters. 0-1.
He really had Jones ducking on that pitch.
A 2-2 game, and the Mets have got runners at first and second with 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. Cleon Jones, right-hand hitter, hit his home run here in the 3rd to left. Stoneman's 0-1 pitch swung on in a high foul out of play to the right. Way down the right field line. 0-2 to Cleon. He made a great catch of Rusty Staub's line drive in the last inning out there in left field. He's playing pretty good ball here. To Cleon. Outfield straight away. Here's the pitch. Outside, ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Dan McGinn, the left-hander. Steve Shea, the right-hander, warming up in the Expos bullpen. Maury Wills comes to the mound to talk to Stoney, and John Bateman has gone out to the hill. The 3 of them talk things over out there. 1-2 to the hitter, Cleon Jones. I would imagine that John Bateman is going over with Bill Stoneman very carefully the pitch or pitches that he wants to make to Jones now that he's out in front 1-2. This is no time for a mistake. John probably just wanted to go over things with Bill as to how they want to pitch to Cleon Jones. Ready for the 1-2. Here it comes. Low and outside. The ball bounces away from Bateman off to the right side, and the runners move up. A wild pitch. Advances Boswell to second, Harrelson to third. So now, first base is open. Takes away the force. 2-2 to Jones. Stoneman is ready to go to work. Looking to Bateman, he has the sign. A quick look at the runner. Here's the pitch, a fastball. Just missed the outside corner. 3-2. And John Bateman again has a little conversation with Harry Wendelstedt. Stoney made a pretty good pitch. All right, we'll see what happens with this 3-2 pitch now with 2 outs. Here it comes. It's low and outside, gets away from Bateman back behind the plate, but Stoneman covers quickly, and the runner will hold at third base. But
Harrelson was mad at himself, Dave. He wasn't looking as that ball got away from Bateman. When he looked and realized that it got away from Bateman, he sort of stamped his foot. Was kind of mad at himself for not going.
Let's take time out for station identification. This is the Expos Baseball Radio Network. It looks like Roy Face is going to be coming on. It will be Roy Face, who had just gotten up. We talked with Roy about this the other day when we had him on our pre-game show. It doesn't take him long to warm up at all. He had thrown earlier in this game, too. So Elroy Face is going to be brought on to try to get out of this jam now that the bases are loaded with 2 outs here in the top of the 7th in a 2-2 ball game. So that will be it for Bill Stoneman, and coming on is Elroy Face.
Well, Stoney got himself into a lot of trouble here in the 7th inning. This is what happened. He got Cardwell, his 8th strikeout victim of the afternoon. Then the trouble started when he walked Bud Harrelson. Gaspar grounded out for the second out. He walked Boswell. Boswell and Harrelson advanced in a wild pitch, and then he walked Leon Jones, and we have the bases loaded with 2 outs. And that's the situation right now facing Elroy Faith as he steps in. We thought for a while that he would bring in the left-hander to face Ed Cranepool, the big left-hand hitter, and that could still happen once Cranepool steps in. He can always pull Faith out and come in with his other left-hander, or his left-hander, Dan McGinn. We'll have to wait and see. But Faith will be pitching to Ed Cranepool, left-hand hitter, and Cranepool has been murdered to the Expos in this series so far.
Bill Stoneman went 6 2/3 innings. He gave up 2 runs earned, a total of 6 hits. He walked 6, struck out 8, committed 1 wild pitch. And he leaves with the bases loaded here and 2 outs in the top of the 7th. This 2-2 ball game. Elroy Faith comes on to make his second appearance for the Expos. He worked 1 inning last night. Gave up 1 hit, and that's all. No damage done against Roy Faith in the 9th. Or rather, the night before, I said last night. A swing and a foul tip at the plate by Ed Cranepool, strike 1. Roy Faith, veteran right-hander. Cranepool is 2 for 3, got a hit in the 2nd, grounded out in the 3rd, base hit to center in the 6th. 5 of the Mets' 6 hits are owned by Jones and Cranepool between them. Bases loaded. Harrelson at 3rd, Boswell at 2nd, Jones at 1st. Here's the windup by Roy. The pitch outside, check swing by Cranepool. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Mets got 2 hits in 2 innings. They got a couple of hits to produce a run in the 2nd. 2 hits in the 6th. They left the bases loaded. Pitch is cut on and a high foul down to the right. Out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So Roy Faith now bearing down on Ed Cranepool. He can end this inning with 1 pitch. 3 walks by Bill Stoneman, loading the bases. After striking out the pitcher, Don Cardwell, he walked Harrelson. Gaspar grounded out to 1st. Then Boswell and Jones drew walks. Ready for the 1-2. Here it comes. Swung on. Ground ball right side. Sutherland has it. Throw to 1st. That's all for the Mets. Faith came on and did the job. He retired Ed Cranepool, and the Mets leave the bases loaded. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 3 left. And the score at the end of 6½ here at Jarry Park. The Expos 2 and the Mets 2.
Well, folks, I only wish you could see the scene back of the Expos dugout. The crowd stood up and gave Elroy Faith a standing ovation for getting dangerous Ed Cranepool out, grounding out 2nd to 1st to end that rally with the bases loaded in the top half of the 7th inning. You can see why Gene Mock wanted Elroy Faith so badly, likewise General Manager Jim Fanning, for situations such as we've just witnessed. The bases loaded with 2 outs, come in and make the 1 pitch. So Faith likely will take to the hill to pitch the next time Mets come to bat in their half of the 8th inning. We'll wait and see. Lefty Dan McGinn was warming up, but so far there's nothing wrong with Elroy Faith. He got the only man he had to face in the 7th inning, a real clutch situation for the 41-year-old relief hurler, picked up by the Montreal Expos as a free agent. Elroy Faith was dropped by the Detroit Tigers and was a free agent signed by the Expos last weekend. And that signing certainly has paid off this afternoon so far. The scoreboard, the message board says, Bill Stoneman, you were great. You too, Elroy Faith.
All right, right, the batter will be the Expos left fielder, Mac Jones. Hit a home run his last time up to tie this game. That was in the fourth. It's the last hit we've gotten off Cardwell. Bottom of the seventh, a 2-2 ball game. Mac, a left-hand hitter. Cardwell's pitch. Curve bounces way out in front of the plate. About 3 feet in front of the plate. Ball one. Cardwell looks to Grody for the sign. The outfield straight away and deep for Mac Jones. Here's the pitch. Swing and a hard hit ball to the right side. Making a nice play on it is the second baseman Boswell. The throw to first. And Jones is retired. Boswell had to go quickly to his left, back on the edge of the grass, backhanded it, and made the throw to Craneville to retire Mac Jones. One away, and the batter, Don Clendenin, 1 for 2. He hit his home run in the second. Got on an error on Kevin Collins, the New York third baseman in the fourth. Right-hand hitter. Clendenin batting .282 at game time. Here's the pitch, cut on, and a hard bouncing ball. Collins at third, up with it. The throw to first is down in the dirt, and they just did get Clendenin as Craneville dug it out. 2 away, and that brings Coco LeBoy to the plate. 1 for 2. Just 3 hits given up by Don Cardwell. The single by LeBoy off the glove of Collins, and the 2 home runs, Clendenin and Jones. Here's the pitch. Outside, ball 1. Oh, with nobody on and 2 outs, you know that LeBoy is going to be looking for something that he can really get a hold of. The pitch on the outside corner, a slider. 1-1. LeBoy would like to have taken a cut at that pitch. He was a little bit upset with himself that he let it go. Here's the 1-1. Swung on, and a hard ground ball. Collins can't get it. It's down the left field line. LeBoy rounds first. He's heading for second. Cleon Jones up with the ball. The throw is not in time. A stand-up double for Coco LeBoy. The 4th hit off Don Cardwell is LeBoy's second of the afternoon. A double down the left field line. For Coco, his 8th double. And he leads the club in that department. So Gary Sutherland has got an opportunity here with 2 outs. LeBoy in scoring position at second base. Well, in the event we get something going here with 2 down, McGinn is going to warm up again down in the bullpen. We'd get a pinch hitter for Elroy Face. A 2-2 tie. The pitch. Low and outside. Ball 1. No activity in the New York bullpen. It's been quiet down there all afternoon. Sutherland is 0 for 2, grounded out twice. Cardwell looks at LeBoy at second. The pitch is cut on and popped up. First base side. Grody is back off of the mask over near the dugout. He makes the catch. That's it for the Expos. No runs, 1 hit. LeBoy's doubled. No errors, 1 man left. The score at the end of 7 here at Jarry Park remains Montreal 2, New York 2.
Folks, the National League is just packed with some of the great performers of baseball. As we've mentioned so many times, Willie McCovey and Willie Mays and Juan Marichal of the New York Giants, along with Gaylord Perry. Well, the New York Giants, the San Francisco Giants, of course. Well, the San Francisco Giants will be in Montreal June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Perhaps you're a Hank Aaron fan. Well, you'll be able to see Hank Aaron along with Orlando Cepeda and the Atlanta Braves. When they come to Montreal, the Atlanta Braves will be playing here May 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th. So here's your opportunity to see some of the great stars of the National League in action here at Jarry Park. Now, for those of you listening to us down the line who do not own a National League schedule, you may obtain one by writing to the Montreal Expos Baseball Club, 1010 St. Catherine Street West, Montreal, or by writing to the station to which you are listening. Well, it's the top half of the eighth inning. Elroy Face takes his place on the mound. He'll be pitching to Ron Swoboda, first man up for the New York Mets in the top of the eighth.
And we're all tied up 2-2. Well, this afternoon at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, Don Sutton pitched a one-hit shutout against the San Francisco Giants. Los Angeles 5, San Francisco nothing. A one-hitter by Don Sutton. Sadecki, the loser. We just got an announcement here in the press box. It said, for the information of the scoreboard operator, there's no W in Mazeroski. The scoreboard had flashed a sign up saying that Matty Alou, Bill Mazeroski, and the stars of the Pirates will be here this weekend. Pitch is low and outside to Swoboda. Ball one from Roy Face. So they made the announcement here to check the W in Mazeroski. Right-hander warms up in the New York bullpen. Ron Taylor. Stoneman rubbing up a new ball. Swoboda, Collins, and Grody here in the top of the eighth for the Mets. And if they get down to Cardwell, we'll see a pinch hitter. Face delivers outside. Ball 2. 2-0. Swoboda's 0 for 3. Got on an error on LeBoy in the 6th. The pitch swung on and missed. Fastball. 2-1. Swoboda waiting. Elroy's got the sign. His windup and pitch is cut on, and a line drive to right field. Staub is there, and he's got it. One away. The batter will be Kevin Collins, who has walked twice. Left-hand hitter. He grounded out once, so officially he's 0 for 1. Well, right now it's between Elroy Face and Don Cardwell, with this one tied in the 8th. 1 out, nobody on. Face to the windup. The pitch. Swung on. Ground ball. Sutherland has got it. Throw to Clendenin at first in time. 2 away. Well, the fans love to see Elroy put him down.
Canadian Ron Taylor is warming up in the Mets bullpen. Ron is from Toronto. So he'll likely see some action here at Jarry Park, his first Major League ball game in Canada. Guess he'll feel pretty happy about that, a lot happier if he can stop the Expos.
Right now, Cardwell is in the on-deck circle, and if Grody's retired, I would imagine Cardwell will stay. Here's the pitch to Grody. He swings and misses the fastball. Strike 1. 2 outs. No one on. Outfield is straight away for Grody, who walked his first time up in the 2nd, struck out in the 4th, and lined out to Staub in the 6th. The pitch, the forkball for a strike. Nothing in 2 to Jerry Grody. Elroy is ready. His pitch swung on and a bounder goes to the right again. Sutherland up with it, throw to first, and the side's retired. 1, 2, 3. So Roy Face has come on to put him down with nothing across. The score as we go to the Expo half of the 8th inning. Montreal 2 and New York 2.
All right, checking our outside scoreboard. Out at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, as mentioned by Dave, Don Sutton pitched a one-hitter for the Dodgers as they defeated the Giants for the score of 5-0. For the Dodgers, 5 runs, 12 hits, and 1 error. For the Giants, no runs on 1 hit and 1 error. Sutton's third victory of the season against 2 defeats. Ray Sadecki was the loser for the Giants. His record right now is 2-2. That was the only National League game this afternoon. Tonight in the National League, St. Louis will play at Pittsburgh, San Diego at Atlanta, and Houston at Cincinnati. And immediately following that game at Forbes Field in Pittsburgh, the Pirates will leave for Montreal, where they open the weekend series against the Expos here tomorrow night starting at 8:05. In the American League this afternoon, Cleveland defeated the Yankees 6-2. Paul the winner, Hamilton the loser. Minnesota defeated Seattle 4-1. Boswell the winner, Bell the loser. Well, in the bottom half of the 8th inning, it's a 2-all tie still between the Mets and the Expos. What a series these two teams are playing. A hard-fought series as they force the games right down to the wire. First man up for the Expos will be catcher John Bateman.
We might also mention that the lights have been turned on here at Jarry Park, although the sun is still shining brightly. John Bateman, the pitcher, Roy Face, and then Don Bosch. Don Cardwell, the windup and pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 1. Bateman today 0 for 2, fly to center, fouled out to the third baseman, Collins. His last time up, that was in the 5th. Cardwell's given up just 4 hits here this afternoon. The Mets have out-hit the Expos 6-4, but the game tied 2-2. Swing and a foul tip. 0-2 to John. We've got somebody just loosening an arm up down in the Expos bullpen. It's not a pitcher, but I can't tell who it is. It's not Ty Klein either.
Well, you've got 2 catchers. I think Ron Brand is one of them because I see a catcher's mitten both players.
The pitch to Bateman, line drive, left center, base hit. Up with the ball, Cleon Jones, and John Bateman is aboard. His first hit of the afternoon. Hit number 5 off Don Cardwell.
What you're going to see now is Manny Mota running for John Bateman. I think this is the reason why we've had those 2 catchers warming up in the Expos bullpen. That's right. Bateman leaves the ball game. Manny Mota will run for John Bateman on first base. He represents the lead run in this ball game.
Mota the runner. The batter, Roy Face. So we'll see if Roy can move Mota down to second. A 2-2 game. Bateman single puts Mota on. The attempted bunt, and Mota's caught off first base, and they get him. Roy Face squared around, missed the ball. Manny Mota had started to dig for second, and when Face missed the ball, Mota had to try to get back to first, and Grody threw him out. Grody to Cranepool. So there's nobody on and 1 out, and Roy Face the batter. The pitch is cut on and a bouncer back to the mound. Cardwell has it. The throw to first, 2 away. Oh, that quieted things down here considerably. It looked like the Expos had something going as Bateman lined a single to left center. Manny Mota took over as the runner, and on the pitch, Roy Face squared around the bunt. Roy's pretty upset. He missed the ball, and Mota was caught off first base. The batter, Don Bosch, with 2 outs. 0 for 3. The pitch for a strike. Bosch batting left against the right-hander Cardwell. Don grounded out in the first, flied out in the third. Grounded out again in the 6th. Cardwell with that slow windup. The pitch is cut on a looper back behind shortstop. Going back there is Harrelson. He gets under it and makes the catch. So that's all for the Expos here in the 8th. So what looked like something cooking for Montreal backfired. Nothing across. Well, a hit. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left. And the score as we go to the 9th remains Montreal 2, New York 2.
Well, the Mets lead for Chicago immediately following this series ender with the Montreal Expos this evening. Then the Pittsburgh Pirates come to town for a weekend series starting tomorrow night at 8:05, Saturday afternoon at 2:15, and Sunday afternoon at 1:35. After the Mets and Pirates leave town, then the Expos will go on a 2-game road trip to Atlanta, where they'll meet the Atlanta Braves. Then they'll return to Montreal for a big 9-game homestand beginning May 9th, featuring the Cincinnati Reds, the Houston Astros, and the Atlanta Braves. This will be the first opportunity for Expo fans to see the exciting teams of the Western Division in action. That means some of the top stars of the Western Division, like Hank Aaron and Pete Rose and Tommy Helms and Johnny Bench and Orlando Cepeda. We'll see them all in action next weekend here at Jarry Park in Montreal. So all you folks down the line in the States and up in Ottawa, make sure you make your reservations now to come see the Expos in action against the Western Division. Well, we've got a new catcher in there. John Bacabella will replace John Bateman behind the plate in this ball game. Bacabella taking over from Bateman, who was replaced by a pinch runner in the top of the 9th.
All right, Don Cardwell struck out 3 times. Right-hand hitter. And Roy Face, who came on in the 7th, with the bases loaded, retired Ed Kranepool to end the inning. Put the Mets down 1-2-3 in the 8th. Now here we are in one of those 9th innings, tied up 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Harrelson on deck, and then Gaspar. Outfield is not deep, pretty much straight away. The center fielder Bosch, couple of steps toward left center. The pitch to Cardwell. Low outside, ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Throwing in the New York bullpen, Nolan Ryan. We saw him here the first day. Don't particularly care to see him today. The fork ball for a strike called. 1-2.
I was going to say, when you mentioned Ryan, I said, that's just lovely. That's all we need is Nolan Ryan.
A ball and 2 strikes to Don Cardwell. Here's the pitch by Face, and a line drive dropped by Lavoie, picked up by Wills, throw to first. It is in time. A great play by Maury Wills. A line drive was dropped by Coco Lavoie. It scooted to Coco's left. Maury picked it up, had to make a quick throw, and did, and got Cardwell on a close play at first. And Yogi Berra is a little bit upset. He's having a few words with Ken Burkhardt, the first base umpire. That goes 5-6-3 for the putout on Cardwell.
Wills was really awake on that play. He didn't give up on it. It looked like the runner would get there in time, but Wills moved quickly, recovered the ball, and fired it over to first base.
Left-hand hitter, Bud Harrelson. 0 for 3 and a walk. Pitch is down low from Pace. Ball 1. That was a big play. Bears still talking. Gaspar is on deck. 1 out, nobody on. The pitch, down low, ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. The message board says that last play was not in the script. Nobody could write the 9th innings we have.
The nervy nights.
The 2-0 pitch. Low on the outside corner for ball 3. And Roy Face is down off the front of the mound, and John Bacabella is also talking with the plate umpire. 3-0 to the batter, Bud Harrelson. One out, nobody on. Here's the windup by Faze. The pitch for a strike. 3-1. Wendelstad just a moment ago looked over toward the Expos dugout. I think he might be hearing a few things from that direction. Here's a bouncer to Lavoie at third. The throw to first base. That's all for Harrelson. Lavoie was playing in on the edge of the grass. Made a nice stop of the ball. 2 away. The batter, Rod Gaspar, 1 for 4. Got a hit in the first. Then he was called out on strikes in the third, flied to center in the fifth. Grounded out to Clendenin in the seventh. 2 away, nobody on. Right side of the infield is back to this left-hand hitter. Outfield is not too deep. Here's the pitch. On the inside corner, a strike. Gaspar shortened up a bit. 0-1. Things are a little tense here in the ninth with this game tied 2-2. Here's the pitch. Gaspar swings and misses. Strike 2. 0-2. Right after that pitch, John Bacabella stood up quickly and fired that ball back to face, and Gaspar made a move that he should not have made. He stepped out in front of the plate. That ball just whizzed by his ear. Face is ready. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Missed the outside corner. A ball and 2 strikes. Tried to get Gaspar to reach for one. The center fielder, Don Bosch, is around in right center and not deep. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and bounced foul behind first. And the count remains a ball and 2 strikes. Let's take 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Expos Baseball Radio Network.
At 103.1 on your FM dial, this is WHRL in Albany at 6:30.
6:30. All right, with 2 outs and nobody on here in the top of the ninth, and the game tied 2-2. The count is a ball and 2 strikes on the New York Mets center fielder Rod Gaspar. Elroy Face on the mound. The little right-hander winds it up. The pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Face struck him out. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. We go to the Expo half of the ninth. Montreal 2, New York 2.
Well, folks, this Expo baseball team certainly can give you a lot of excitement in their ball game. Elroy Face again receiving a standing ovation from the fans back of the Expos dugout as he walks slowly in to sit on the bench for a well-deserved rest. Face coming on hasn't given up a hit in the relief pitching that he has been doing since taking over from Bill Stoneman. But this is the kind of excitement you'll see at all Expo ball games. The Expos, the expansion club in the National League, certainly are not looking like an expansion club this year. They've been involved in a lot of games they should have won. I think, as Dave was mentioning at the outset, the Expos have dropped something like 7 games by 1 run. And here we go into the bottom half of this Derby ninth. The score is tied up at 2-all. So there's plenty of excitement here. Not one person out of the crowd of 7,741 has bothered to leave the ballpark. They know the score is tied 2-all. And the part of the batting order, it's the meat of the Expo batting order coming up. Maury Wills will be leading off for the Expos, to be followed by Rusty Staub and Mac Jones, and possibly Don Clendenin and Coco Lavoie. So let's see what happens. as we go into the bottom half of the Nervy ninth.
All right, here's the guy that's due to get on base. Maury Wills is 0 for 3. Grounded out twice, fouled out to the catcher. Batting left against Don Cardwell. 2-2. Cardwell's pitch. Low outside, ball 1. President John McHale of the Montreal Expos watching this game. Box seat just to the right of the Expos dugout down on the front row. Here's the pitch, swung on, and it's a base hit up the middle for Maury Wills. Hit number 6 off Cardwell. Wills drills a single to center.
Okay, Mr. Manager, what will you do right now? Bottom half of the ninth inning, Maury Wills is on first base. Rusty Staub, your power hitter, is at the plate. Will he bunt or will he swing?
I'd like to see Rusty just end this one quickly. With Wills on at first, Staub at the plate, 0 for 2 with a walk, left-hand hitter. Cardwell to the stretch, a look at the runner, the pitch to Staub, down low for a ball. Rusty shortened up. A ball and no strikes. Mac Jones is on deck. 2-2 ball game. Outfield straight away for Staub. Right fielder Swoboda deep. Wills takes his lead. Here's the pitch. Staub swings away. A comebacker to the mound. Throw to second is in time to get Wills, and that's the only play they'll get. Cardwell just spun around, fired to the shortstop Harrelson, and they got Maury Wills. The ball was hit hard, but right at the pitcher. So Staub hits into a fielder's choice. There's one out. Staub is now the runner at first. Wills is out. And it'll be Mac Jones coming to the plate. 1 for 3. A home run in the fourth that tied this one up at 2-2. Cardwell has been very tough with men on base. He hasn't had the situation that often, but when he has had it, he's been tough. Mac is a left-hand hitter. Batting .347 at game time. 1 out. Staub is on. A lefty and a righty throwing in the Met bullpen. Cardwell to the stretch. The pitch. Low. Ball 1. On deck is Don Clendenin. Infield at double play depth. Mac waiting, Cardwell looking down. He has the sign he wants. Holds at the waist. The pitch. Low, ball 2. 2-0. Boy, we're due to win one in the bottom of the ninth, Russ.
Sure hope so.
We're due, and I hope it's today. 2-0 to Mac Jones. Staub leading off first. Cardwell looks at the runner. His pitch, swing and a miss. 2 balls and a strike. Mac stepped out for a moment. He's back in there now. Here's the pitch. Swung on, and here's a line drive. Sinking fast forward, left center. It drops in there. Staub is going to dig for third. Here comes the throw, the slide. He's in there, and Mac Jones goes to second. The winning run is on at third base with Don Clendenin coming to the plate and 1 out in the bottom of the ninth. Jones with hit number 7 for the Expos. Staub at third and we're going to get a runner for Rusty Staub. It is Ron Brand. Ron Brand to run for Rusty Staub at third base, and the batter will be Don Clendenin, and here comes Gil Hodges out to the mound. The left-hander down in the Met bullpen is Tug McGraw. The right-hander is Ron Taylor. Along with Cardwell and Hodges talking out there, Jerry Grody, first baseman Ed Craneful has come over. Kevin Collins, the third baseman, is over there. The Expos have runners at second and third with one out in the bottom of the ninth, and the game tied 2-2.
The scoreboard says Mac and Rusty, nice going. Certainly was nice going. A close play at third base. A stop slide was just in time. Kev Collins, the Mets third baseman, raised the storm with the umpire at third base, Lee Ware, but to no avail. And we have runners in second and third with Don Clendenin stepping to the plate, Coco LeBoy in the on-deck circle, and only one out. Let's see if Big Don can end it now. Just a long fly ball will score the run. They're going to walk Clendenin.
They're going to put him on. Don Clendenin is going to be walked, and they're going to pitch to Coco LeBoy. With one out and first base open, they want a man on first. So Clendenin is going to be intentionally walked here. It'll be the second walk given up by Cardwell. And it'll bring Coco LeBoy to the plate. The bases are loaded. One out. Infield at double play depth now. LeBoy at the plate. The runner at third for Rusty Staub is Ron Brand. At second, Mac Jones. At first, Don Clendenin. What a ball game we've had here today. Jerry Grody motioning to the outfield to come in. With one out, they realize that a hit will win the ball game. A fly ball could win it if it's hit deep enough, but the outfield is going to move in to try to cut down anything that gets through. One out, 2-2 ball game. The pitch to LeBoy. Low outside, hit the outside corner. Strike one call. To Coco, looking to Peanuts Lowry for the sign. Brand, the runner at third. Cardwell in a real jam. The big right-hander at the windup. The pitch is cut on. A high fly ball. This should be the ball game. Back in left center. Under it is Gaspar. He makes the catch. Here comes the throw. Here comes Brand. Brand is home free. The ball game is over. The Expos win it on a sacrifice fly by Coco LeBoy. LeBoy drives in the winning run as Ron Brand scores on a fly ball to left center. In the ninth, one run on two hits. No errors in the ball game. And there were two men left on base. The final score here at Jerry Park, the Expos 3, the Mets 2. I'll be back with the totals in 1 minute.
Well, folks, apart from all the excitement that you'll find at Expo ball games at Jerry Park, there's special fun dates, music, entertainment, and excitement at every Expos ball game here at Jerry Park this year. Good times for everybody. Fun and music before and during every game. And a whole cavalcade of special days and nights is being planned. Ladies' days, camera days, tea nights, bat day, father and son night, ball day, know your neighbor night, also cap day. So get with the big league happenings at every Expos ball game this season. Major League Baseball is here in a big way. Everybody's getting tickets for Expos baseball. They're now on sale near you. You can get yours in minutes via the TRS computers. They'll do the work for you. They'll select the tickets, in the price range and the section you request. So there's no reason why you can't get in on the fun of the action here at Jerry Park this year. Just locate the nearest ERS computer near you and have your ticket punched out in the section and price range you request. Wow, what a ball game this one was. As the Expos pull it off. Again, taking the last game in a series to prevent from being blanked by the New York Mets, who won the first two games. A lot of heroes in today's ball game. And here with the wrap-up and to tell you about some of those heroes, Dave Van Horn.
All right, Rouse, here's the line score on the game. For the Expos, 3 runs, 7 hits, 1 error. They left 4 men on base. For New York, 2 runs, 6 hits, 1 error, and 6 men were left on base. The winner in relief of starter Bill Stoneman, Roy Face, now 1-0 with the Expos. Faced 7 men, retired them all, struck out 1, pitching 2 1/3 innings. The losing pitcher, Don Cardwell, is now 0-4. He wound up working 8 1/3 innings. There was 1 out when the winning run was scored. With the bases loaded, a sacrifice fly to left center by Coco LeBoy. Ron Brand, who was running for Rusty Staub, scored from third base. And that was the ball game. A 3-2 victory for the Expos, who, as we were mentioning, were long overdue to win one in the ninth. So in one-run games, it's their third victory. It's the 10th one-run game these Expos have played. Their second victory of the year over the New York Mets. The Mets take the series, however, 2-1. For the Expos, their 8th victory on the season. And as far as the standings are concerned, New York is now 9-12, and Montreal 8-13. We'll have more on the wrap-up in 1 minute.
Well, folks, the Expos yearbook has been off the press for a few weeks now, and it is available by mail. This 68-page color book is something to behold. All the information on all your heroes with the Montreal Expos. Coco LeBoy, the big hero in this afternoon's game, with that sacrifice fly to knock in the winning run, is in the Expo yearbook. You'll get the whole story on Coco, plus a picture of him. Also, the centerfold of the Expo yearbook has a beautiful color picture of the Montreal Expos. Also in the yearbook, complete details in all departments of the Expos baseball club. Interesting sketches about the club's trainer, Joe Licio, physician Dr. Bob Broderick, and equipment manager Harvey Stone. You'll also have available information on how to obtain Expos souvenirs and novelties by mail. Ticket ordering information and a detailed seating diagram of Jerry Park is in the Expos souvenir yearbook, and you can keep it handy for easy reference all season long. Send $1.25 to yearbook, Jerry Park, Montreal, for your copy.
Home runs this afternoon. Don Clendenin hit one for the Expos in the second. Nobody on. Mac Jones hit one in the fourth that tied it up at 2-2. Nobody was on base when Mac hit his. Cleon Jones homered for the Mets in the third. The starter was Bill Stoneman, who went 6 2/3 innings, not involved in the decision as Roy Face came on in relief and picked up the win. Don Cardwell, as we mentioned, was the losing pitcher for New York. So, on Coco LeBoy's sacrifice fly in the ninth, Ron Brand crossed the plate. He was running for Rusty Staub. And Jones, Clendenin, LeBoy pick up the 3 RBIs this afternoon for the Expos. Cleon Jones and Jerry Grody drove in runs for New York. A 3-2 Expo victory over the New York Mets. Well, that's just about it. We ask now that you stay tuned on most of these stations for the baseball scoreboard coming up next. This is the Expos Baseball Radio Network.